Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Anglia International School Rotterdam's Virtual Open Day webinar. My name is Jack. I am the Director of the Admissions and the Marketing here at the school, and it's my pleasure to welcome you today. As I mentioned, we are on a webinar today, which means that myself and my colleagues, we can speak to you and you'll see our presentation, but you cannot speak directly to us with your camera and with your microphone. Instead, you're welcome to use the question and answer button, which is on the very bottom or the top of your Zoom screen. If you hover your mouse over that button, click it, and then you can ask your question at any time in the presentation today. And you can be sure that the questions are anonymous. Other guests will not see your questions. And if you click the box, also we will not see your name. So you can be anonymous there as well. So please already begin to ask your questions. And at the very end of the presentation, we'll be very glad to answer them for you. It's my job to introduce us today and to introduce several of my colleagues. So we're lucky today to be joined by our school director, Miss Nikki Meehan. And of course, she'll talk to us a little bit about our school as a whole and our parent company, the Anglia Education Group. And as well, later on in the presentation, we'll hear from the heads of the elementary and the secondary school about what makes their sections of the school special. And then finally, we'll come back to myself and I'll talk a little bit about the admissions process, the next steps and how to book your place for your child at our school. After all of that, we'll have some time at the end, about 15 minutes or so, just to answer your questions. So keep them coming in and at the very end, we'll get around to answering them. So I'll pass over now to our director, Miss Nikki. So over to you, Nikki.
Hey, so good morning or good afternoon to our guests, wherever you are in the world. It's wonderful to have you joining us today to find out a little bit more about our school, Anglia International School in Rotterdam. Because we really are a lovely and a very special school with very happy, highly engaged students. So who am I? Just to introduce myself, I am the director here at Rotterdam. I've been here only since August, so I'm new in my journey with the school in Rotterdam, but I have been an educator for 30 years now and have worked with our parent group, Anglia Education, for nearly 14 years. So I'm well known and know a lot about the organisation and the value the organisation brings to our schools. So hopefully I'm bringing a wealth of experience and knowledge and importantly passion to my role here as the director. And, you know, I'm delighted to be the director here in this community. And my own daughter, one of my own daughters, is here with us at the school. So she's thriving. And I know that as a parent that the most important thing to you is your children. And I can guarantee you that your child will thrive if you choose to join our family. So who are we? We are Anglia International School Rotterdam, but we're part of a large organisation. We're a small school, part of a large organisation that now has 69 schools internationally. So we have our own unique identity, like any family member. You know, we are us. We stand alone. We have our unique personality, identity, and context here in Rotterdam that has evolved over the school's history over many years. But, you know, being part of a family gives us a global identity and connections with students and staff and a parent community globally in 69 schools internationally, 29 countries, you know, and over 100 nationalities represented in our family of schools. So when we talk about being an international school, we really are truly an international school, part of an international schools organisation. Okay. But here at Anglia International School Rotterdam, you know, we really are a special school for our students. You know, our students are the lifeblood of our school, and everything we do is centred making sure that their experiences every single day when they come to school are impactful, are full of exciting learning that really make our children excited about learning for now, but also preparing our students for the future. So, you know, we're very much a school that is about, we like to talk about, we feed our children's learning. We want to make sure that children are excited to learn, that they're hungry for learning. So yes, we have academic rigor at the heart of what we do. You know, we are a school, we want our children to be academically successful, but we're a holistic approach to education here, which means that we really push our values of who we are as individuals, who we are collectively, who we are now as young individuals, but who we want to be in our future lives. So values are at the core of everything we do. So that's about who we want to be and who we are. And then we focus a lot on who we are as learners, because as we know, school is a point in a child's life. It's about their learning now, but really importantly, it's about setting them up for their future lives and who they are in their journey of lifelong learning. So our inquiry-based approach, which, you know, our head of schools will talk a little bit in more detail to you about, is really about the way we engage children as independent learners, how we teach them about the behaviours of good learning, how we get them to have the right attitudes about learning, how we get them to be curious and inquisitive and inquiring in everything they do. So that idea of that inquiring pedagogy is really, again, at the core of our approach to teaching and learning, whether the child is 2 or 18. We want to make learning exciting for them, full of challenge, support and challenge. And obviously we are truly an international school. We want our children to have, and our young people to be globally minded and to be global citizens. They are that because they're part of a community with, you know, 40 different nationalities represented within our student body, our parent body, and our staff body. So they live and breathe internationalism in everyday life as part of the hidden curriculum, but we actually teach that as well through our taught curriculum, how to be respectful, how to understand, to be culturally aware, and how to be adaptive and resilient within a dynamic, ever-changing playing field, which means our children are really well prepared for the global world that we live in, and the globalization and opportunities to travel and work and engage in their future lives, wherever they may be and what sector they may decide to move into. So really our VIP approach, as we call it, our values, inquiry and perspectives, enables us to provide a truly holistic education for our young people, making sure that every day matters. So yes, it's about their futures, but it's also about their now and their everyday, and how that everyday layers and adds up to prepare them well for their next stages in learning when they leave us, either to transition into other schools, to transition into higher education, or to transition directly into to follow their passions in later life. Really, again, what makes us special is also this idea that we are a community hub. And we really extend a very, very warm welcome to every member of our student body and their families. When families travel and when they come from, whether they're transitioning in from the Dutch system into our school, or whether they're expats relocating to Rotterdam, you know, our job is to make sure that every child feels welcomed, that we get to know them very quickly, we get to support them, and we get to support their family, so that quickly they assimilate into our community and they feel nurtured and supported to be successful. So yes, it's all about the child in the first instance. We want to make sure, as I say, that they have buddies, that we understand their learning journey so far, so that we can make sure that we're addressing any gaps in learning, any support needed to help children to learn in the ways that we want them to be as learners, and to really get to know them so they feel secure and happy, because we do know that when children are happy and secure in their learning environments, then they'll thrive and they'll flourish. But to do that, we also need to make sure that we've got strong parent partnerships. So we work very, very closely with our parents as partners in a child's learning journey, sharing information, sharing expectations, bringing parents in to see how the children are learning, get the children themselves to share the learning journey, their targets, their successes. And really so that if there's any concerns or worries, it's an open door policy so that we work very, very closely. There's no surprises. You support the children's learning at home, we support their learning in school, and then together it's very powerful for children to see that we are working together and we are united in our support for each and every child. But also it's more than that for our families, because we are the community for them. So this is also where our parents, we use them. We have parent volunteers supporting in the library, supporting in classrooms, having coffee mornings, parents supporting parents to understand just getting used to life in Rotterdam, life as part of a new community, maybe life in a new country. And so we really support our parents, and our parents support our parents. And that makes us a community, and a very, very strong and welcoming and warm community wherever our families are joining us from. And really the most important thing, we're a lovely school. We've got great facilities for our students. We're a lovely campus, but really critical to a child's success is the engagement with the teachers and the quality of the teachers that they work with, the teachers and the wider staff, but primarily the teachers who they engage with in their lessons every day. We are very, very lucky because as a prestigious school, we attract high quality staff and retain high quality staff. And then we challenge our staff to be the best. So we have a very diverse international staff body, highly qualified, highly passionate and skilled staff. And we challenge our staff every day to be the best they can be, so that your children get the best education that they can. And being part of this global network of schools means that our teachers not only learn and develop together and are challenged as a team here in Rotterdam, but they also have the support and the peer network of the larger organisation. So they can have peer support, they can engage with teachers doing similar jobs across our family of schools. They can engage with high-level training that's provided by our organisation or by outside external providers at a high level. So we attract really quality staff, we retain really quality staff, and then we develop our staff so that they're staying fresh and they're active lifelong learners themselves, modelling lifelong learning and the need to challenge and to grow and to develop. And we know that that's what keeps our teachers at the forefront of educational practice, but also keeps the dynamism where the teachers are challenged themselves. It means that every day they're coming in, they're trying new approaches, they're making sure that they're refreshing their planning, they're getting to know the individual children and looking at creative and new ways that they can engage with children and make sure that the learning is exciting and is appropriate and is forward focused for all of our students, again, whether they're age 3 or whether they're age 18. And we know that it is the teachers and their engagement with the students that leads to that success and that value added. When you come to join us here in Nord Anglia International School, Rotterdam, we know we add value to your child's learning journey. And then again, what makes us unique? There's some great schools here in Rotterdam and in the Netherlands. There's so much choice for parents. So how do you make the right choice for your child? So yes, we have all the normal things that you would expect of a good school, high academic outcomes, value added through curriculum enrichment. But what we also have is, as part of Nord Anglia Education, we have this family of schools and lots of unique opportunities to partner with some of the world's leading organizations. So our music program is influenced by the Juilliard School in New York. At the moment, we're looking at the music program, but that will in time develop into performing arts because we really value that holistic approach and value the arts. We've got a developing STEAM program. We work with MIT. Our teachers work with the professors at MIT, and our students have the opportunity to engage in regular challenges set and in partnership with MIT, and even have the opportunity to go to workshops at MIT in Massachusetts. So what an amazing opportunity. For our older students, we also work in partnership with UNICEF. So our global citizenship really comes to life. Is real trying to solve real global problems, working with real organizations who are at the forefront of the agenda, whether it's environmental, the global goals. And our students also have the opportunity to take part in Model United Nations events, and even go to New York and take part in a Model United Nations and UNICEF summit with students from across our family. So really, there's some really unique opportunities as being part of a Nord Anglia education family of schools for our students: sports, performing arts, MIT, really, and we're adding on all the time, really developing and growing as a school and as a larger organisation. And really, as a school, we have the facilities to deliver exciting learning to your child every day, and then obviously using the wider environment to take students out into the community here in Rotterdam, to take them on excursions and residentials beyond Rotterdam, beyond the Netherlands, inter-school competitions, music festivals, performing arts festivals globally. So, you know, your child has a fantastic enriched experience every day in school, but we also take the learning outside and beyond school, so that they're challenged and it's dynamic, and basically it's a very exciting learning opportunity for the children. So action-packed, wonderful teachers, and a very happy school for students and for staff and for our parents. So yeah, we believe that your child will have a great experience with us. But now I'm going to hand you over to our heads of school, and what they'll do is talk a little bit more in detail about our programs of study and the particular offers that we have for children at different ages and stages in their school journey. So I'm going to hand over now to, I think I'm handing over to Miss Lip, who's our principal in our elementary school.
Well, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the elementary school. What I want to do today is just introduce you to sort of the big picture of the school and give you a bit of an idea of what it's like a day in the life of an elementary school student here. So on the next slide, you'll see that, as Nikki spoke about already, this is our approach to learning. Okay, so this underpins everything that we do. Okay, so as Nikki said, the values, this is us making sure that we are teaching and facilitating thoughtful, caring, and responsible students. We do this, and I'll talk a little bit later about it, but we do this through our curriculum and through the personal goals that we use throughout the school. In terms of inquiry, yeah, this is the part where we challenge. Okay, this is what we call our growth mindset. We want students to challenge, we want them to question, and we want them to make mistakes. We want them to feel safe to do all of those things, because we know that's what moves their learning forward. So this is the way we approach our learning and our teaching and our learning. Okay, so for us, challenge means that every child needs to be appropriately challenged. Okay, and that is an individual challenge, and that is being challenged as a group as well. So that is a little bit about what inquiry means. Now, perspectives, how do we do this? Well, as you heard, we have a strong partnership with UNICEF. We focus a lot on the Sustainable Development Goals. We're really trying to help students see beyond the classroom and to understand that they have a role in the greater global community. One part of Nord Anglia we use a lot is what's called the Global Campus. And this connects us to all of the schools in the Nord Anglia family and allows us to engage with them on lots of different levels. Okay, so that's the part that helps them look beyond themselves. So again, this approach to learning underpins everything that we do. And now we'll move into how do we do some of that in relation to the pastoral care. So on the next slide, what you'll see here is our pastoral care. Now this term is called many things, but basically this is how we look after the well-being of our students as well. So as I mentioned, we have our IPC personal goals. Okay, these personal goals are, the way we approach it is using student language. So we teach students to always start by saying, I aim to be resilient by, or I aim to be a collaborator by, I aim to be respectful by. So we give them that language and we go through the 8 personal goals that we have. And this really helps them to look at that holistic approach. Okay, so not only do we look at these in isolation, but we look at these goals throughout the curriculum because it's linked to everything that they do. How else do we look after their well-being? Well, we celebrate success. We do this through assemblies and awards. STUCO is our student council. So we have a very active student council or leadership group. And right now they've chosen to focus on the environment and environmental awareness. So we're working on developing a school garden and projects like that to help develop that goal. We do have a buddy system. So whether you're a new family or perhaps you're new to the language, we do have an approach that makes sure you're looked after or the students are looked after as soon as they walk through the door. Digital citizenship, well, that's become even more important during this COVID period. And this is just helping them be a responsible citizen. So again, those personal goals, but what does that mean digitally? Okay. Our student services team, this is made up of a group of us who look after the whole big picture of a child. So whether that be medical or academic or well-being, whatever that concern might be, that approach comes through the team, and then the appropriate personnel helps to follow up with students. We're also fortunate to have an on-site social worker. So she's involved with us regularly, and she's really our link to the broader school community. And that gives us access to services that we don't have locally in the school, but we do have locally in the community. So now, moving into the classroom, we'll start with our early years. For us, our early years are called pre-kindergarten 1 and pre-kindergarten 2. And these are our 3 and 4-year-olds. Okay, so our approach here is completely driven by play. As we know at this age, that is what they love to do, and that is how they learn. So the environment we create for them is very, very important, whether that be the indoors or the outdoors, which are very important for early learners. So what we do here, we follow what's called the International Early Years Curriculum. And again, that approach is play-based. It's very practical. And it focuses on learning through play and through that curiosity that we've been speaking about. It also really emphasizes that collaboration because we know that at this age, social and emotional development is absolutely essential. Okay, that's the key part of this program. So that's really, as I said, the way we approach our early years. And this covers the young learners, the beginning of our journey here at NAISR. And then as we move into our 5 and 6-year-olds, we get into the next phase of the school. And this is where we start with our 5 and 6-year-olds, as I said, and we go up to what we call grade 5. So this is kindergarten through grade 5. And again, the curriculum, fieldwork curriculum is extended. So this is called the International Primary Years Curriculum. And what you see here is a diagram of our unit of learning and what we call the learning cycle. Okay, so you can see how we approach everything. It is a theme-based approach, again, very holistic, as you've been hearing. And this complements our literacy and our mathematics. So this is where we might look at a unit on entrepreneurs, and the students might learn about what it means and what does that concept mean, and then they eventually become entrepreneurs themselves. And everything is linked to that overall theme of being and developing entrepreneurs. You can also see that we have different aspects to the program. So there's learning within the day, there's learning after the school day, and then of course, within the school day, you have the classroom learning with literacy, with mathematics, and with IPC, but you also have specialists. Okay, so we do have specialist classes in art, music, physical education, and Dutch. Okay, so this altogether makes up a typical day, and that's the way that our elementary school works on a day-to-day basis. The last thing I would like to talk about, if you just move to the next slide, you'll see this is the after school or co-curricular offering. So yes, we have music and art during the day, but then we also have clubs and various other activities happening after school. So even though right at the moment we may not be running everything, we do have a comprehensive program, and we have ways to provide the extended opportunities that students experience and love. So we are very well connected to the local Philharmonic, so we have quite an interest in music here. A lot of students choose to take individual music lessons, whether it be piano, violin, voice, cello, whatever it might be that they're interested in. We have arts and crafts, we have sport, we have building or engineering like Lego. And then we have other areas. So you can see the range that we have will address all of the students' interests, whether it's physical, whether it's musical or creative, whichever it is that they find interesting. So that makes up our co-curricular program. And then finally, we have the learning beyond the classroom. Okay, so these would be what we call our trips. On the very last slide here, you'll see this is where we get outside, and this is where we explore. We have many, many local museums. We have many, many outdoor experiences here. We're very focused on nature and on the environment. So we do a lot in our local neighborhood that way. As I said, we also spend a lot of time working with the music, and music is something that Rotterdam has a lot to offer. And then a lot of times we expose children to the local city they live in. So we do city tours, we go outside and experience just how much the local community has to offer. So again, that all together makes up the elementary program. And as Jack mentioned, please do write any questions down in the Q&A, and we can come back to them if you have more specific questions about the elementary program. I'm going to turn things over now to my secondary colleague, and he's going to walk you through the secondary school.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the webinar, and thank you once again for joining us today. My name is Brett Sullivan, and I'm the head of secondary here, and I've been the head of secondary in Rotterdam. This is my 4th year. I'm originally from New Zealand, and started my education journey as a PE teacher. I think Rotterdam is a fantastic school. Yes, I might be a little bit biased because I'm here supporting a whole lot of fantastic kids that work their way through our middle and high school program. But it's a challenging environment, but it's a very supportive environment. I think it's a place that our students like to be, and it's also a social place. You know, so when you mix all of those elements together, I think it's a pretty special school. Look, if we dive into the next slide, you'll see that our secondary students, of course, are VIPs as well. Now, you've heard a little bit about this in terms of the values, inquiries, and perspectives. So I'm not going to read through that. I'm going to try and tell you what that actually means for a secondary student in our school. Essentially, we're preparing our students to be the best they can be while they're here, but also to be in the best possible position for when they head off to other places or to the other plans that they might have. You know, so our students are a little bit closer to leaving than some of our elementary students, you know, so we need to make sure that that they grow and they develop and they excel academically to be very, very prepared for when they move on to other things. I think one of the questions we like to ask, mixed amongst all of our learning philosophy to some of our students sometimes is, what do you actually do when you don't know what to do? What do you do when you don't know what to do? And that can be a tough question. And it's something that we like to think that with all of the knowledge, skills, and experiences they have with us, delivered through a strong set of values and a really inquisitive approach and broad perspectives, will set them up to be successful, to be able to answer those sorts of challenges, whether it be while they're here with us or when they move on to greater things when they leave us. Okay, when we dive into the secondary program in a little bit more detail, you'll see that onto the next slide, you'll see that we also have a pastoral care program, and our pastoral care is a building block. It's a foundation of what we deliver, and it's something that we put a whole lot of value on right the way through from grade 6 through to grade 12 when our students leave school. Our CVP program is a special program that we built ourselves, so it's a bespoke program. And I guess we firmly believe that if our students are healthy, happy, and understand what's happening in society and in the environment around them, it places them in a really good position to be able to absorb all of the knowledge, skills, and understanding that they're learning academically in our school. You know, so our CVP program is all around social and emotional support and help, and it's led by some really fantastic pastoral care leaders, and it delivers or it puts our students in a really good space to be able to move on and achieve highly. CVP is delivered every day, so it's 30 minutes every single day, and it's a family room and it's a home room, you know, so it's a place of care, but it's also a place of support and fun. We have a Stuco as well. We have a combined middle school and high school Stuco, so that's pretty important. We see it very important that our students, our middle and high school students, work together in that space. They organise events. They have a focus on the environment too. They work with the elementary Stuco at certain times, but that's a real leadership opportunity for them as well. And it also puts them into a good place once they get on a little bit later on in their studies, when they're looking for some of the community work that they need to do and the activities that they need to do in the IB program. Our health advisory and PE lessons, they're part of the curriculum, you know, so the focus there really is on health and PE. We also have obviously we have the student services team, and we have an on-site social worker who is available to some of our secondary students as well, should they need it. Okay. This is specifically around our middle school. So, you know, these are our 11 to 14-year-olds. These are our grade 6 to 8 students. And we follow the IMYC program, which follows on from what Alison was just talking about before, which is the IPC program. And it's also a concept-based curriculum built around a big idea. And I guess it draws on the specific development needs of 11 to 14-year-olds, you know, so, and that's done really, really specifically through personal goals, international goals, and of course, every subject needs strong academic subject level goals as well. But to give you an example there, some of our students might be, one of our grade 7 units might be built around the concept of risk, and they will explore risk in lots of different ways, whether it be through risk taking in mathematics and actually being trying things and getting things wrong. They might be doing a fitness unit in PE class, and they will still have that foundation of risk and trying new things. And the same, you know, they'll look at the same concept through social studies and music and drama, etc. So it's what holds it all together. So that's our middle years program. It's a fantastic curriculum. When we move upstairs a little bit more, in grade 9 and 10, we have our own IB prep program. And I guess those are what some people would call our freshman and sophomore years. And students will study the core subjects of English, science, mathematics. They'll do a second language or a modern language. They'll do a social studies, which is a social science. And they'll also, we still believe it's really, really important that they do health advisory and PE. So that's the building blocks of that. And then from there, students can also select electives like visual arts, media and publications, or music, and that balances everything out. In IB, we have an extensive offering in all subject areas, and we work with our students normally around this time of the year, and we are doing that at the moment, to actually look at what subjects the students would like to take in their last 2 years of school. And then we build programs around what our students would like to do. And it's really important to also note that we have a number of students that join us for our IB program. So a lot of students will come from other schools and other countries specifically to study the IB in their last 2 years of school with us. In terms of graduation, students that stay with us are able to choose from grade 3 graduation pathways. There's the full IB diploma, which is a 2-year program, grade 11 and grade 12. We also have some students who will just choose to come to us and do some IB subjects. So they might need just a certificate in art or a certificate in mathematics. And we call those students course candidates. Well, that's what the IB calls them. And there is also a high school level that students can go through. And so all of our students will graduate with a Anglia International School of Rotterdam academic diploma. but we are more than happy to meet and discuss with you some of those pathways in a little bit more detail. Okay, so this is our average IB score over the last 3 years, 33.1. So that's well over the global average. We get our students with scores into the 40s. Remember that a 24 is a pass for the IB, and our average subject score out of 7 is 5.25. I guess one of the things I need to point out here, or I'd like to point out here, is that education advisors in IB schools last year ranked us as a top EU school in terms of delivering the IB, and we were also awarded. They also awarded us the top three school in the Netherlands at the same time. So it's something that we're really, really proud of. And like I said a little bit earlier, people will come to us to do the IB program and actually join our IB Academy. All right. These are some of the universities that we help place our students into. A lot of our students will stay in Europe. They may go to the UK. We have applications over into the US and North America. We do have quite a big Japanese and Korean population in the school. So we get, obviously, we help students with applications into that space. And even though it's not on the list, we've also helped students apply to the neck of the woods where I'm from, Australia and New Zealand as well. And we have a university and college counsellor that we employ, who's also an experienced IB teacher, and helps the students go through a process and works with students not only to help select subjects, but also to actually get their applications looking shipshape and ready to go in, whether it be for scholarship type programs, sporting scholarships in the United States or in other universities around the world, or applications into various programs and courses. Okay, we also have a pretty strong after-school program or an extracurricular program. I guess the focus for us, I really need to point out in the secondary, is some of the things on the left top there. And once you start getting up into the secondary program, it's important that we do provide additional support and additional resources in terms of tuition and helping students should they, choose to actually take some extra support if they want to, some students might be going off to do an SAT test if they're applying to the United States, so how can we look at some of the topics on the list there and actually provide them with support that they might need? We've got coding clubs. We have students who compete in the Model United Nations or MUN. We just had a group of students do their first virtual MUN. They didn't get to travel. This time they were supposed to travel to somewhere in Budapest, I believe, but obviously in these times that can't happen. So they had a virtual Model United Nations and had a fantastic time. And we also offer all of the sports that you see on there. NAISR at the top there stands for the North European kind of area of Council of the International Schools. And so we play in a league with all of those sports against international schools as far up as Norway, down to Luxembourg, into Belgium, and the west side of Germany, and obviously some other Dutch schools as well. So that's, and we run seasons. We've got lots of music that goes on, and I've already told you a little bit about the middle school student council. Okay, moving to the next slide, we do a lot of secondary trips. Our IB students, if we start at the top, complete a Group 4 science project each year, and we take them away and get some of their IB laboratory work out of the way and have some fun while we're away as well. Our middle school students are pretty focused on outdoor experiences. So we have a camp booked at the moment in the Ardennes, which is in the north of Belgium, in the mountains there, and we do through a whole lot of team building activities, and we try to do that kind of trip at the beginning of a school year. It's not always possible, but our focus is to try and get it done in that September time, because it really sets the foundation and gets them working together. And that's important when you've got students coming from lots of different places around the world. Our high school students, so our grade 9 and 10 students, visit a variety of cities, and they're involved really heavily in the planning of their trip as well. They do some outdoor activity, but some of their trips, which are curriculum linked, might be to Berlin, it might be to Stuttgart or London or Antwerp. You know, those are just some of the ones off the top of my head that we've been on in recent years. And of course, there are a lot of subject-specific daily trips that go out fairly regularly from the school building as well. And that's really important, that our students, you know, don't just stay in the bubble that's here, but look outside and can apply what they're learning in their curriculum areas, and really understand what's going on in the environment around them. Okay, so I think that's me. I'm going to hand you back over to Jack now, and then I think we've probably got time for some questions.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Brett. I hope everybody has so far enjoyed hearing the offering from our school. Like I mentioned right at the beginning, my name is Jack. I run the admissions program at the school, and I'm joined by a colleague, Aurora, in the department. So if you're contacting us, you'll get through to either myself or Aurora, and we'll be very glad to hear from you. And some of you I can see on the call already are already in the process, so you'll know us from our emails and from our calls already. But to those who are new, who are going through the process at the moment or just about to start, I've put on the screen here just a brief overview of how it works. We try and make the process of joining the school as simple and as straightforward as possible. So at some point you contact us, whether by phone or by email, and we'll start straight away to put things in place, setting up a call perhaps with your family, or setting up a session where you can speak directly to Brett or to Alison about their area of the school. We'll answer any of your questions. If you're in Rotterdam already, you're welcome to come for a visit. At the moment, due to the ongoing situations, we do need to take the precautions necessary. So we're wearing masks and we're staying the right distance away from each other during the visit. But you are welcome to come, and I can show you the building. If you're not here, we could do a tour virtually. So we have done this many times. We take an iPad or a camera and we walk you around the school, and we can take you wherever you want and introduce you to teachers virtually. That's possible as well. The next step is to fill in an online application form. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how many children you're applying for. And you'll have to upload a few documents as part of that process. We ask for previous records or grades from the last school. We also ask to speak to a member of the academic team from the previous school as well, just to get an academic reference. And as well, we look for the passport scans and a few more details. But that doesn't take too long at all. If you haven't already spoken to Alison or Brett by that point, we'll definitely set your family up with a one-on-one meeting with them virtually or here at the school. And you can ask all the questions that you want, and we get to know your family a little bit. When all of that's completed, we send you the official offer. And that's up to you. You can accept our offer. And if you do, we send you the contract and you sign that, and it's all done. And we give you the starting date. It's worth pointing out straight away that we have students joining our school at any time. So of course, the main times when students join us are at the beginning of the school year, which is for the next year will be August the 19th. But again, we do have a number joining us midway through in January. But also at any point. So we do have a student joining us next week, for example, and we've had students joining us in February. So it's possible at any point to join our school. And we make that process easy. And as my colleagues mentioned at the beginning, we implement a buddy program as well to really make sure that your child is feeling happy at the school. So I think that really wraps up the admissions process. We make it simple, as I mentioned, and now I think we can open the floor to the questions. So I can see that there are some questions that have been coming in. That's great. Keep them coming. You know where to click and where to type. I think that we'll start off straight away with a popular question. Probably, you know, it's very relevant at the moment. We're talking about virtual learning and how the school has operated under the virtual systems. So maybe Alison or Brett can jump in and speak about their sections of the school and what we've done with the virtual learning.
Yeah. Hello. I think I beat you to it, Alison.
That's okay. You go.
I guess I can see there's a question there, and it's really specifically also about should the pandemic prohibit, you know, next year's teaching? What are you going to do about it, or how do you operate? And the one thing I could probably say is, well, we're pretty experienced by now. It was a bit of a shock to us all this time last year, around March and April time. But things are going as good as things could go in terms of virtual learning at this point in time. We really are set up for a full virtual environment, a hybrid environment, and a full school environment. Now, the hybrid environment is what we're operating in the moment. And the hybrid environment means that students will come to school for some time, and they will be at home other times, or some students will be sitting in front of a teacher, and that teacher will also have students at home joining via video link. And we're working our way through that process as well. So I guess the main answer there is that we're prepared and we're practiced now in all of those different areas. It's not easy. We would still rather have the students in here all the time, and we have to we have to make sure that we adapt all of the time. And each of the year groups sometimes are very, very different. And sometimes we have students that do go over to different countries, and we have time zone challenges there. But we adapt our schedules and we're prepared. We've got the resources. We have resources available that we can give out to our elementary students in terms of loaning devices in some situations. And all of our secondary students operate a one-to-one laptop program. So we provide you with a MacBook Air from grade 6 to 12. And so the platforms, and we provide IT support there as well. So at this point in time, like I said, we're operating in a hybrid environment, and we've got our grade 12s on site every single day, you know, because they're an exam year. We've got our grade 11s on site 2 days a week and 3 days at home at the moment, and our other students on site 1 day a week in the secondary school, and our elementaries on site every single day, you know. So, and we mix and match depending on what the regulations and what the rules are that come to us via the Dutch government. So I kind of hope that answers your questions and explains things a little differently there. I'm going to roll on to another one while I've got everybody. And yes, I think Jack's already covered off that we would really love to come and meet students, and students can come in via strict rules, or they can also make online appointments and virtual appointments to come in and discuss things and ask questions themselves. There's a really specific question there about how many senior students you'll have next year in IB2. And at the moment, our IB1 class has 18 students in it. And so it will be at least 18 students. So that's that answers that question, really, that little specific question. And then there's a big question around about someone must be listening about someone is in the gymnasium class, VWO 4th class, and opting or wanting to go to the United States on a scholarship program. Yes, they do look at freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior years, but universities are really clever these days, and they've really had to adapt, knowing that students are in these times. But universities they've always been clever, obviously, but the admissions departments, what we've found, they can take combinations of qualifications and from different countries and different curriculum areas. So what I mean by that is quite often students will leave the Dutch system and join us for their IB. They will look at whether they're in VWO, HAVO, or VMBO when they're applying for various levels of education moving on. But for us, the focus really is on the junior and senior years, or grade 11 and grade 12. You know, they will look at that a little bit more closely. And in some situations, they will weight the IB qualifications a little bit higher than some of the other qualifications. Yes, we are recognised by the Dutch government. We're not bound by the same rules as a lot of other schools in Holland are, but that's because we're allowed to operate in the Netherlands because of our accreditations through the Council of International Schools, and we're also accredited by the New England NAISR, New England Association of Schools as well. And so, you know, that actually provides us a platform to be able to deliver a high school diploma, which is built on the back of the US high school diploma, and then support students in their applications that way. But I will say one more thing before I hand it over to someone else. We really like to talk to students on those sorts of things. It's really interesting to find out what their journey might be and what their subjects might be and where they might be going, and then we can answer those questions in a lot more detail.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to come in on the aspect about the virtual learning. I mean, obviously it's something we've been working with over a number of months, obviously as a school. But again, this is where the value added of being part of a large schools organisation comes in, you know, with 69 schools globally who are in different geographical locations across the world. All of our schools at some point have been impacted, obviously, by the pandemic. So what we really have is a global expertise to share best practice on how to deliver age-appropriate virtual learning. Obviously, at different ages and stages, it's more challenging for the students and for the parents. So it's a combination of what platforms do we use, how do we deliver those lessons in a combination of synchronous and asynchronous, and how do we work together as an organisation. That has been highly successful, which means that we're ahead of the game. We're not just chasing our tails, that we're actually strategically planning always for how we deal with situations. We're ready to press a button at just one day's notice if we had to go to fully virtual at any one point in time. We've got resources ready digitally and hard resources ready to send out to support learning at home. So, you know, it's a sad reality that this is the world that we're living in, but we are very, very well prepared as a school and as an organisation, and really keeping that at the forefront of all of our planning for the best learning to happen in school, but now obviously virtual being a part of potentially our lives for months and potentially a year ahead.
Thank you very much, Nikki. We are approaching the end of our session. We're allotted an hour here, so this is the chance now to ask any of those last burning questions. I can see one has just come in. It's about the languages which are on offer here in the elementary school specifically. So maybe Miss Lip can talk a little bit about the languages that we offer here, and Mr. Sullivan could jump in with the secondary and IB options.
Yes, absolutely. Starting from about the age of 5, we offer daily Dutch lessons. Okay, so that means that for 45 minutes every day, students do learn Dutch. Now we have 2 strands of Dutch. So obviously we have Dutch for those that have never experienced Dutch before. So we call that Dutch as a foreign language. And then we have Dutch as a native language. And what that means is that we, in a way, mimic what a native Dutch speaker would experience in some of the Dutch schools. Obviously, we modify it and tailor it to be more appropriate for our international environment. But it is actually in the idea that we are trying to maintain that literacy. So the native language approach, we think about it like a mother tongue. So it means they are developing literacy in English because that is our main language of instruction, while simultaneously developing the literacy and maintaining literacy in Dutch. So that is the approach that we take in terms of additional languages. We also have English as an additional language, as we have many international students. So they often opt to have some additional English instead of Dutch, but the vast majority of our students do opt for the Dutch. When they get to the secondary school, they then have the option of Dutch as a native or foreign language, but then they also have Spanish. They can also do as a foreign language. Perhaps I'll let Mr. Sullivan explain. We do have some IB options in terms of language too, so I'll let him jump in on that.
Okay, yeah. So the high school, like Alison said, we from middle school and up into the end of grade 10, it's very similar to elementary. Dutch, foreign and native, and Spanish is an option there as well. But once you jump into grade 11 and grade 12, when we're looking at languages, we're looking at Group 1 and Group 2 in the IB. And Group 1, we offer English A and Dutch A, language and literature. So that's first language choices, you know, and sometimes we have students that will choose both of those and end up with a bilingual diploma. So that's the first language option. And now when you jump into Group 2 IB, that's all second language or language acquisition. So what we do there is we offer 2 courses. The IB has courses for intermediate students and it has courses for beginner students. Now the intermediate courses are called B courses. We offer Spanish B, French B and Dutch B, and those are taught courses that we offer here at school. And then the beginner course we offer is Spanish. So we have a Spanish ab initio course, and that's for students who have got no previous experience in a language and need to start learning a language in order to pass the IB. I should also have said that the intermediate level courses, the B courses that I just spoke about, are students who have got, you know, anywhere from 2 to 3 years of experience through to around 5 or 6 years of experience of learning a language, but they're not completely fluent in those languages. And then the only other final thing you can do is there are also a suite of self-taught programs. So quite often we will have a lot of Korean students, like I said before, joining us, or Japanese or German students. And we don't offer those at school, but those students can do those with the support of a teacher at school and an off-site tutor as well. And those are called IB self-taught programs. And there's a variety of them. We've got students at the moment going through Arabic as well, and that's available through the IB. Okay.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. I think that wraps up the webinar for today. So thank you to our panelists for joining us, and of course, all of our attendees today. So it just leaves me to say thank you. And our website is there, just at the bottom of the screen. If you're not in touch with us already, if you navigate to the website there, you'll find a little form that says Contact Admissions, and fill that form out and you'll be directly in touch with us here in the admissions team. So I'll say goodbye, and my colleagues also say goodbye, and looking forward to speaking to you soon. Bye-bye.